Hi everyone, my name is Adrian and today I'm going to be reviewing the show Shadow and Bone from Netflix. It was released a month ago and I watched it over a course of a couple of days, so I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of my thoughts on it. So when it comes to the show overall, I feel like it was very fun, a very whimsical world, but also super confusing. Super confusing. There were so many characters that you had to keep up with, and I'm telling you, even now, I don't remember most of their names. I could not freaking tell you. But I do remember the names of the main characters, and the characters were amazing. I'll get to the casting later, but I did love most of the casting choices. I think what they did with the romance was a very big part of this show, even though it's sci-fi fantasy and it's, this big crazy world full of magic. Romance, of course, as usual, was a big part of the show. I loved most of the relationships on this show. I loved how most of them grew and developed. Most of them weren't paced too quickly. That's a big thing for me. I really don't like how in a lot of television shows, relationships are not given time to grow. You're not able as a viewer to see when the initial attraction starts, and then to see when, this is becoming more than just simple physical attraction, and then to grow from there to, we're now fully in love. No, it's never like that on a show. It's like 1 second this couple hates each other, or they just met, and then 5 days later they're like in love and willing to risk their life for another person. That's not realistic to me. And I really like, if you're gonna put a romance on a show, I really like it to be realistic. I want it to be believable and not stupid and out of place. So when it comes to my favorite relationship is not a relationship. It's Kaz and Inez. Their friendship they're very dependent on each other. They don't give you a lot of backstory at all, actually, on how they even became friends, how they met, how long they've known each other. You don't get a lot of backstory on Kaz, Inez, or Jesper, even though they're still the most entertaining group out of the entire show. But I love their friendship. They care about each other. Neither of them can say it, similar to Mal and Alina, actually. Neither of them can admit it, but they really, really care about each other. And so I think that they're going to be the best relationship when they do happen, because it's going to grow so slowly and so authentically. And, the payoff is going to be huge when they finally get together, So prayerfully, I'm hoping that happens, but I think it will. We'll see. But I love their relationship because it's there, but they're not just like throwing it in your face and speeding up the process. They're taking their time, really building on their relationship and the romance aspect of it. When it comes to Alina and Mal, I love the pacing of their relationship. I really like that one as well. By the end of the season, they still haven't said I love you. They still haven't kissed. They haven't done any of that. I love that so much, because it's not often that you see it on a TV show where a relationship is not sped up too quickly. I feel like they both probably know at this point that they have feelings for each other, but they just can't acknowledge it right now. And, that's very typical when the best friend to lovers trope or whatever, the best friends are afraid to admit their feelings because they don't want to ruin their friendship. It's very common. You could say cliche, but I appreciate it here. I appreciate that they're, once again, taking their time with the relationship and, building this one up so that it's even deeper. And like I said before, the payoff will be greater when they actually do get together. The other relationship, but I can't even remember the names of the heart render who ends up with that dude who's basically a racist against Grisha. I love that relationship. I thought it was fun. I thought their banter and their chemistry was great, but I did not understand how that mess related to the plot of this story. Why were they there? The entire season, we're shooting back to clips of this random couple, trekking through snow and arguing for what? I think they did too much. I think the producers put too much into this first season, because that didn't have to be introduced in the first season. Now, of course, in the last episode, we see that she's going to end up meeting, Jesper, Inez, and Kaz, but we did not have to see that relationship throughout the season. I thought it was very out of place. It didn't make any sense to me. I still don't think it makes sense, and I don't remember their names. So it's just very sad all the way around. So like I said, I actually really loved the relationship, and I loved how, this man learned to accept her as she was and to not generalize. Of course, this points to racism. He's not racist. He's learning that his ways were wrong, and just assuming the worst in somebody because of something they can't control was not the right thing to do. So it's great. We saw a lot of character development with him, and he was attractive, but that's neither here nor there. We saw a lot of character development with him, which was very cool, but once again, don't understand why it was there. Don't think their relationship had to be showcased so much in this season because it didn't have anything to do with the plot. Going on to casting choices, let's talk about who I loved. I loved Jesper so much. I think he's probably most people's favorite character. Kit Young played him so well, and of course he was the comedic relief, but the comedy mixed with his fun gunslinging sequences, it just made his character very enjoyable to watch. And I'm actually completely rooting for Kit Young's career, the actor who played Jesper. He's so talented, and I think that he was the best character on the show. I can say that. When it comes to Alina, I'm not going to talk about every character one by one, but I'm going to just talk about Alina because obviously she's the main character, and I felt like she was boring. And I loved this show, so I don't know if I sound like I'm tearing apart the show. I loved it. I really did. I thought it was a fun watch, but just being nitpicky, I don't think there was much about Alina, and that's very common, at least for me, when I watch a sci-fi fantasy show or movie that has a female lead. For some reason, I just never care about the female lead. Like Katniss in the Hunger Games, I thought she was a pretty dull character. The main character from Divergent was boring to me. And don't even get me started on Elena from the Vampire Diaries. Like, her character was so useless. When she left in season 6 or after season 6, I didn't even miss her. Like, I didn't care. The show didn't get worse because she was gone. Like, that's how useless she was. And the same goes for Alina. I don't love her character and I don't hate her character. I'm very in the middle when it comes to her. And I don't think that's how it should be. I feel like you're the main character. You should be my favorite, and you're not. Jesper stood you up. I mean, a lot of characters are better than her, to be honest. Like, Jesper, Inez, and Kaz are the 3 best characters. And then, even Mal is a little bit more interesting. I think something that needs to be added to a female lead, don't just call her the chosen, like, don't just make her the chosen one, right? Like, that trope is very common, the chosen one. It's the thing with this show. It's the thing with, in a way, the Vampire Diaries and the Hunger Games. You have that aspect of, yes, you're the one that's going to save the government, or you're the one that's going to save all the people and save your society and save the world. That can't be the only intriguing part of the character. Give her a personality. Is she ditzy? Is she clumsy? Is she selfish? Is she prideful? Is she fearful? I want something deeper than just, oh, she's the sun summoner, she has powers. I want more than that. I don't think people give characters like her enough depth. They think that it's enough for her to just have powers. It's enough for her to just be unique with her magic. No, like, she needs more. I want a character flaw, or I want a character strength. I want something that makes her a little bit more intriguing to watch, and I didn't get that. I loved the Crows, okay? I just loved them. I thought their story was so interesting. Inez was amazing. I love her, and I love watching her action. I mean, honestly, like, when you think about her personality, she's very subdued, she's very serious, but you also know that she's very, very loyal. You know that she's been through a lot in the past, and now she's come out on top. She's gone through hard times, and she's resilient. She doesn't give up. Like, you can tell all of that because of the slight backstory that we get on her character. And Inez was amazing to watch, and I love her character. She's very independent too. Like I did say earlier, Kaz and Inez, they have this relationship that does come off codependent, but she's willing to leave him if she has to for what she believes in. She stands up for what she believes in, and she doesn't back down from that. And I just love her character for it so much. I also want to say that I think there's a very interesting parallel between the beliefs that Kaz and Inez differ over and the beliefs that a lot of us differ over in the real world, Of course, we saw that play out very dramatically last year and into this year. You know, a lot of us in America and just all over the world, we have very different beliefs on things. Of course, some are just terrible, and then others are just different. You know, sometimes it's okay to disagree on things, and you can still get along with people that you disagree with. So with, you know, the people in Shadow and Bone, you have people like Inez who really believe in the saints, who really believe in the Grisha and the Sun Summoner actually helping save everyone. Like, they believe in it, and it really comes off like a religious devotion that they have to this person. You know, you can see it in how Inez is with Alina. She honors her, she respects her. So you really can parallel that with people in the real world who have religious beliefs and who honor God and respect God. And then you have people like Kaz who don't believe in anything, who believe in themselves, who believe in their friends and the people they have around them. And, you know, Kaz, I would say that you could compare him to being an atheist today. And what's so great about watching their relationship play out on this show is that they have very different beliefs, they have very different points of views, but they still get along very well. They are still good friends. They still respect each other. And I think that's a good takeaway. You know, when you're creating a television show, you want to make sure that there are good themes running throughout it. And you want to be able to relate it back to the real world and what's going on in the world at the time. And I think this show did a good job with that. But it's also, to me, sending the message that you can disagree with people and still get along with them, and still be friends with them, and still love them, and still respect them. And I think that's just a good takeaway for this show, and it makes me love Kaz and Inez's relationship even more because of it. The last character I want to talk about is General Kerrigan. I mean, I thought he was a good villain. Like, he definitely was a good villain, but I just don't like the romance between him and Alina that was starting before, of course, like, it's revealed that he's evil. That was giving me major creep vibes. Like, he looks so much older than Alina, and I thought that casting choice was garbage. He just looks like her uncle. Like, and I honestly felt like when they first met each other, I honestly felt like they were going to have this nice mentor-mentee relationship, and then more of a father-daughter relationship. I was so annoyed when the romance started happening between them. I thought that made absolutely no sense. He is quite a few years older than her in real life. He really is. And to me, that just looked so stupid on screen. I couldn't get past how much older he was. He should have been her uncle. Like, that just made no sense. As a villain, I think he's great. As an actor, I think he was good. But the casting choice and putting her with him for even a short spell, that was ridiculous to me. He just looked ridiculous. But overall, I do want to say that I really enjoyed this show. I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. I suggest watching it if you're into sci-fi fantasy. I thought it was really fun. It's really fun. It's a good world. But I do think, you know, there were a lot of confusing moments. I'm not even going to play. Like, there are still parts of the storyline I don't understand. I don't understand the deer thing. Like, just don't understand certain plot points and what was going on. But for the most part, I kept up. And if you're into sci-fi fantasy, you probably know, like, sometimes it just gets really confusing. There's all these different people groups who don't get along, all their weird names. It's not always easy to keep up with. But overall, it's just a fun watch, and I would definitely suggest it if you're into that kind of thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And, you know, just let me know what you thought about the show. Did you love it? Did you hate it? How do you feel about all of the different characters? Do you think that the casting for General Kerrigan was good? Yeah, just let me know what your opinion is. I'd love to hear it and chat with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.